Have you ever noticed how in movies, military operations, or even pilots talking, they don't just say understood. Instead, they say Roger that. It sounds simple, but there's a reason behind it. A reason built from history, technology, and the need to avoid deadly mistakes. Let's explore it right here on Zentino Facts. Long before modern communication, messages had to be clear, or people paid the price. But when radio communication became widely used, especially during wartime, something unexpected happened. Voices weren't always clear. Signals could break, static could distort words, and in high-stress situations, even a small misunderstanding could lead to disaster. Imagine hearing understood as misunderstood, or worse, not hearing it at all. That's where the problem began. To fix this, radio operators needed words that were short, sharp, and nearly impossible to confuse. So instead of relying on everyday language, they created something smarter, a phonetic alphabet. This system assigned specific words to each letter so they could be clearly heard over radio, even in noisy conditions. Before the modern system we use today, the letter R was represented by the word Roger. And R had a very specific meaning. It stood for received. Not I understand everything, not I agree, just one simple confirmation, I got your message. That distinction mattered more than you might think. In critical situations, confirming you received a message is the first step. Understanding comes after, and acting on it comes last. By separating those meanings, communication became much more safe and precise. During major conflicts like World War II, this system became standard practice. Pilots, soldiers, and radio operators relied on it every day. And Roger that became one of the most commonly used phrases in the field. Over time, language evolved. The phonetic alphabet was updated, and Roger was eventually replaced by Romeo in the modern NATO phonetic alphabet. But here's the interesting part. The phrase Roger that never disappeared. It stuck. Why? Because it had already become deeply embedded in military culture and then spread into movies, television, and everyday speech. Today, people use Roger that casually. Sometimes it means I understand, sometimes it means okay. But originally, it meant something much more precise. I received your message, loud and clear. And here's where it gets even more interesting. In aviation and military communication, saying the wrong word can still cause confusion. That's why professionals don't just rely on Roger that. They often use more exact phrases like wilco, which means will comply. In fact, saying both Roger and wilco together is technically redundant because wilco already includes the meaning of Roger. It's a small detail, but in high-stakes environments, details like that matter. What this really shows is how language adapts to pressure. When the cost of misunderstanding is high, humans don't leave things to chance. We simplify, we standardize, we make communication as clear as possible. So the next time you hear someone say Roger that, you're not just hearing a cool phrase from a movie. You're hearing a piece of history, a solution to a real problem, a word that helped people communicate when it mattered most. And in some cases, a word that helped save lives. Thanks for watching.